Stop turning your key and flooring the gas the second your car starts. You're killing your engine. Stop revving hard on a cold start. Stop cranking the ignition for 10 seconds straight when it doesn't fire up right away. These tiny mistakes might feel harmless, but they're secretly grinding down your engine from the inside out. In fact, most drivers shorten the life of their car by hundreds of thousands of miles without even knowing it. Today, I'll show you the exact habits that destroy engines and the smarter ways to start and drive that will keep your car alive practically forever. Number 1. The start button lie. Most people think the hardest part of driving is dealing with traffic, but in reality, it's the first 2 seconds after you start your HA. That tiny moment is when your engine decides whether it'll live a long life. Of the wild part, almost everyone gets it wrong. Modern cars make it worse because push-button starts feel effortless. Press, boom, ready to drive. But under the hood, your fuel system, oil pump, and electronics are scrambling to wake up. If you slam it into gear right away, you're basically asking a half-asleep machine to run a marathon. And just like a person, that kind of abuse adds up, quietly draining thousands of miles from your engine's lifespan. Number 2. Cold oil. Silent killer. Here's the brutal truth. Cold starts are murder on engines. When you turn that key, or hit the start button, your oil is sitting thick and lazy at the bottom of the pan. It hasn't reached the pistons, bearings, or turbo yet. That means for the first few seconds, metal is scraping on metal with almost no protection. Revving the engine in this state, which so many drivers still do, is like dry shaving with a rusty razor. Even worse, in winter, oil can take twice as long to circulate. That's why mechanics always say the real damage to an engine doesn't happen at 70 miles per hour on the highway. It happens in the driveway before you even leave. Number 3, the revving myth. You've probably heard someone say, "Rev it a little, it warms up faster." That's one of the oldest lies in car culture. Revving a cold engine doesn't heat it up, it just hammers unlubricated parts harder. Think about it. Your pistons are flying up and down thousands of times a minute while oil is still crawling its way through the passages. Instead of helping, you're accelerating wear that never heals. The engine will warm up, but at the cost of shaving years off its life. That's why smart drivers let the car settle into a smooth idle. No noise, no drama, just letting the oil quietly do its job before the real work begins. Number 4, idling too long is just as bad. But here's the twist, waiting too long can be just as damaging. Old school advice said, let it idle for 10 minutes. That might have worked for carbureted engines, but modern fuel-injected cars are a different beast. Extended idling dumps raw fuel into the cylinders, washes down protective oil, and can even clog catalytic converters over time. Basically, you're wearing down your engine while wasting fuel. The sweet spot? Let it idle for 30 seconds to a minute. Just enough you can spiral a long way to stay off the field and swing this raw fuel for 5 after the end of a long. Mexican coffee kicks, white stones. Then ease into driving gently, because that's how today's cars are designed to actually warm up. Number 5, driving off like a maniac. Here's where most people ruin everything. They think, okay, I gave it 30 seconds, now let's go, and stomp the gas pulling out of the driveway. But your transmission fluid, differential oil, and even your wheel bearings are still cold. Every sudden acceleration or hard shift before fluids reach operating temperature is like cracking your knuckles with a hammer. Sure, it works, but it leaves damage you'll feel later. The worst part, you won't notice for years. The car feels fine until one day your transmission slips or your engine starts knocking, and the repair bill is bigger than the car's value. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you've already learned something new, that's a sign your car deserves a little extra love. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and it means you'll never miss the tips that could keep your car alive for years longer than you thought possible. Number 6, the synthetic oil illusion. Now here's a dangerous trap. Synthetic oil. People hear synthetic and think their engine is bulletproof, like it can handle abuse cold or hot. Don't get me wrong, synthetic oil is amazing. It resists breakdown and protects longer. But even synthetic oil doesn't teleport to the top of your engine at startup. Gravity still pulls it down when the engine shuts off. So there's first few seconds of dry running, they're still happening. If anything, synthetic oil gives drivers a false sense of invincibility, making them drive harder, sooner, and ironically, wearing the engine out even faster. Number 7. The silent wear you never see. Here's the scariest part. Most engine wear doesn't scream at you. There's no smoke, no check engine light, no loud bang. It's microscopic. Metal rubs just a little too hard when it's cold. Bearings wear a fraction thinner, seals lose a hair of elasticity. Day by day, mile by mile, it adds up. Until, bam, you're replacing an engine that looked fine yesterday. That's why people swear their car just suddenly died. Truth is, it was dying a little every cold start. And if you don't respect those first few minutes of operation, you're writing the ending of your car's story before it even gets going. Number 8. Skipping under car checks. And while we're talking hidden killers, let's move under the car. Most drivers never crouch down to check for leaks, drips, or damaged boots. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Wrong. A tiny oil leak that goes unnoticed can starve your engine before you know it. A cracked CV boot lets dirt in, grease out, and suddenly your smooth ride turns into grinding metal. These things don't show up on your dashboard until it's way too late. Spending 30 seconds once a week looking under your car can save you thousands. Ignore it and you're basically blindfolding yourself while driving a time bomb. Number 9. Ignoring fluid changes. Here's where a lot of people sabotage their own car, skipping fluid changes. They'll proudly say, "Oh, I haven't changed my transmission fluid in 80,000 miles, and it still shifts fine." That's like bragging you've been eating nothing but fast food for a decade and haven't had a heart attack yet. Just because the failure hasn't hit yet doesn't mean the damage isn't stacking up. Every mile with old dirty fluid is grinding your gears, thinning your bearings, and cooking your seals. By the time you feel the problem, it's already too late. Fresh fluid is cheap insurance. Neglecting it is like betting your car's life at a casino. Number 10. Thinking short trips don't matter. This one's sneaky. People think short trips are harmless. A quick run to the store, dropping kids at school, a 5-minute drive to work. But short trips are brutal on engines. Your oil never heats up enough to burn off moisture and fuel vapors, so sludge builds faster than you'd believe. Your battery doesn't get time to recharge properly, so it dies early. Your exhaust system rusts from the inside because condensation never evaporates. Do that every day, and your car is living in fast forward, aging years in just months. Short trips might feel easy, but to your car, they're slow poison. Number 11. Ignoring small warning signs. Here's a harsh truth. Cars whisper before they scream. That faint burning smell, that tiny flicker on the dashboard, that split-second hesitation when you accelerate, those are warning signs, not quirks. Every big wallet-crushing breakdown usually started as something small and cheap to fix, but drivers ignore it thinking, "It's fine, I'll deal with it later." And later always means expensive. A $20 gasket ignored becomes a $2,000 repair. That little misfire becomes a dead catalytic converter. If you train yourself to catch whispers early, your car lasts. If you wait for screams, you're already too late. Number 12. The myth of indestructible engines. People love to say, "Oh, my Toyota, my Honda, my diesel, these engines are bulletproof." But here's the reality. No engine is indestructible. Abuse anything long enough, and it'll fold. The only reason some engines earn that immortal reputation is because owners maintain them like clockwork. Skip oil changes, ignore leaks, overheat it once too often, suddenly that legendary motor is just another hunk of scrap. Believing in the myth of indestructibility makes people lazy. And laziness is exactly what kills cars that shouldn't lasted a million miles. Number 13. Treating your car like it's disposable. This is the mindset that kills more cars than any bad habit, treating them like they're disposable. People think, I'll just drive it into the ground and buy another one. But here's the problem. Every car you own will punish or reward you based on how you treat it. Neglect one car and you'll neglect the next. Respect one car and suddenly you're the person whose vehicles last decades, not years. Cars are machines, but they respond to discipline, consistency, and care. Think long-term, and your car will shock you with how far it can go. Think short-term, and you'll always be broke shopping for another disposable ride. And even if you start your car the right way, one mistake at the gas station can undo all of it. I'm talking about fuel injector cleaners. Some of them work, but a lot of them are nothing more than expensive snake oil that do absolutely nothing for your engine. Before you waste your money, check out my breakdown of the 9 fuel injector cleaners you should never use. Trust me, it'll save your wallet and your car.